All right, so today we're diving deep, deep into the world of BRM cycling.
Oh, exciting.
It is. Have you ever pictured yourself on a bike?
Yeah.
But not for speed. You're not racing.
Right.
You're just covering hundreds of kilometers
Wow.
just for the challenge and just for the journey.
Sounds pretty intense.
It does sound intense, right? It's so BRM stands for
Okay.
Brevets de Randonneurs Mondiaux.
Okay.
Basically, it's like these long-distance cycling events.
Okay.
They're governed by the Audax Club Parisien.
Gotcha.
But we're not just talking a weekend ride.
Right.
These are some serious distances. We're
Yeah.
talking 200 kilometers,
Wow.
600 kilometers.
Oh, my God.
And they even have one that's 1,200 kilometers.
What?
Yeah. It's called the Paris-Brest-Paris.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's intense. So what's fascinating about BRM to me is it's not actually about being the fastest,
No.
right? It's more about just pushing your own personal limits
Yeah.
and, experiencing the joy of just cycling long distances.
Yeah, that's really cool. And they have these crazy time limits.
Oh, yeah.
So 200-kilometer BRM, you have 13 and a half hours,
Okay.
which means you have to keep a decent pace for a long time.
Right.
But then the Paris-Brest-Paris,
Yeah.
the one that's 1,200 kilometers,
Right.
that has a 90-hour time limit.
90 hours. Can you imagine the
Yeah.
logistics of that? I mean, the planning that goes into that is it's mind-boggling to me.
It's it's not just the physical endurance, to do that. It's
Right.
also the mental game.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's one thing I find interesting too is the whole self-sufficiency aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
So the riders, they have to carry everything they need on their bikes.
Oh, wow.
So their food, their water,
Well,
tools, repair kits.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like mini survivalists out there.
little mobile survival workshops going on. That's amazing. It really embodies the spirit of randonneuring, right?
Yeah.
It's all about self-reliance and resourcefulness. And,
Yeah.
You're not just out there pedaling, you're navigating, you're problem solving, you're kind of becoming one with your bike out there.
Yeah. I've heard stories about people who they've had to fix a flat tire in the pitch black.
Wow.
And they've only got what they brought with them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that level of preparedness is pretty incredible.
Absolutely.
So, with all these distances and time limits, how do riders even prove that they've actually completed these journeys?
Right. Well, that's where the Brevet card comes in.
Okay.
It's basically it's like your passport to the randonneuring world. And at each checkpoint along the route, you get it stamped.
Oh, cool.
And that proves that you completed that section within the time limit
Gotcha.
and that you followed the rules.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So it's a physical reminder, almost like a badge of honor.
Yes, exactly. Earned through sweat and determination.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of legendary challenges, let's talk about the Paris-Brest-Paris.
Right.
It's the pinnacle of randonneuring.
It is. The Paris-Brest-Paris, or PBP as it's known, is a 1,200-kilometer ride.
Wow.
That takes place every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is the holy grail for a lot of randonneurs.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You can't just decide one day, hey, I'm going to do PTP.
Right.
To qualify, you actually have to complete a series of shorter BRMs in the preceding years.
Yeah.
So we're talking 200, 300, 400, and 600 kilometers,
Yeah.
all within specific time frames.
Wow. So it's a serious commitment then, huh?
It is. It's a big commitment. It's almost like having a second job
Right.
with the amount of training and preparation that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kind of sacrifices do people make?
Yeah, what kind of sacrifices do riders make to get ready for something as big as the PBP?
Well, it definitely requires dedication. Riders will often adjust their lifestyles. They'll incorporate pretty rigorous training schedules. They meticulously plan their nutrition and, invest in all the right gear. I mean, it really becomes a central part of their lives. And many people find that, having that level of commitment actually brings, a sense of purpose and fulfillment
Yeah.
to their lives.
That's amazing. It's incredible to think about just the mental fortitude it takes to even attempt something like that.
Yeah.
But PBP, it's not just about individual achievement, is it?
No, absolutely not. One of the most beautiful things about randonneuring is the camaraderie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. These are individuals who truly understand the challenges, the joys, and the sheer grit, the mental and physical grit it takes to actually complete these rides. They support each other at checkpoints. They exchange stories. They offer words of encouragement when things get tough.
That's cool. So it's it's almost like a shared experience, like beyond just the cycling itself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like human connection and like striving for this common goal together.
Precisely. Yeah, it's about realizing that even in these incredibly demanding endeavors, that you're not alone.
Hmm.
And that sense of shared purpose and support is really what makes randonneuring so special.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's actually what we're going to unpack next.
Okay.
We're going to delve even deeper into this world of BRM. We're going to look at, more about the community, the mental and physical challenges,
Yeah.
and even some of the personal stories that make this, such a unique and inspiring pursuit.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned.
It's interesting, to think about what actually draws people to this whole world of BRM.
Yeah.
Is it the physical challenge? Is it the mental toughness? Or maybe it's like the allure of exploring all these new places? Or could it even be something like deeper?
Yeah. I think it's definitely, there's something like deeper to it, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a pilgrimage,
Right.
like a journey of self-discovery. But it also connects you to like this wider community of like-minded souls.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's not just about racking up the miles, right?
Yeah.
It's about pushing your boundaries. It's
Yeah.
about discovering what you're truly capable of.
And it's all done on a bicycle, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like this simple machine. It becomes like a vehicle for exploration, for self-discovery, and even like for human connection.
It is remarkable. And the best part is it's accessible to almost anyone. You don't need like fancy equipment or specialized training to participate in a BRM.
Yeah, exactly. All you really need is a bike, a sense of adventure, and the willingness to push yourself, Yeah. It's like a reminder that adventure, it doesn't have to be like this grand expedition.
Right.
It can be found right in our own backyards.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the most profound adventures are the ones that we embark on within ourselves. The journeys that challenge our perceptions, push us to our limits, and help us grow as individuals.
I was reading about like the types of bikes that randonneurs like.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently they they lean towards like sturdy, reliable bikes, like, that prioritize like comfort and durability over speed. Which makes sense when you think about the distances, right?
It does. Yeah, they often offer steel frames, which are known for their comfort on those long rides and their ability to absorb vibrations. Plus, they need to be able to carry all that gear we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So you'll see them with racks and panniers, lights, all very carefully selected to make sure that they can handle any challenge the road throws their way.
Yeah, and there's like a whole like philosophy around training for these events. It's not just about hammering out miles. It's about building a strong base. It's about like listening to your body and incorporating like long, slow rides to prepare for those like, grueling hours in the saddle.
You're right, yeah. It's more about consistency and endurance rather than pure speed. A lot of randonneurs, they follow this principle of gradually increasing their mileage and incorporating those back-to-back long rides to really simulate the demands of a BRM event.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, if there's something about the rhythm of cycling, like the steady cadence of the pedals that allows for this, like, this kind of introspection.
Perhaps it's like that meditative quality of the movement. That steady rhythm helps us like disconnect from all the noise of daily life and just tune into our thoughts and feelings. It's almost as if like the bicycle becomes an extension of ourselves, carrying us not just across distances, but also inwards towards a deeper understanding of who we are.
Yeah, and as we pedal along, mile after mile, hour after hour, something shifts within us. We shed layers of self-doubt. We confront our limitations, and we emerge, stronger and more resilient than we ever thought possible.
I think that's at the heart of randonneuring's appeal. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought.
Yeah.
And through it all, we're surrounded by this amazing community of fellow randonneurs.
Yeah, it's like this shared experience of pushing boundaries, both physical and mental. And speaking of pushing boundaries, we've got a special treat for our listeners today.
Oh, yeah.
We managed to snag an interview with a randonneur who's completed the Paris-Brest-Paris not once, but 5 times.
5 times. That's incredible.
I know.
I can't wait to hear their experiences and insights into this legendary event.
Let's hear what they had to say about the PBP and what it's taught them about themselves and the world. So we've talked about all the ins and outs of BRM cycling, from the gear to the crazy distances and the amazing sense of community. But Now I think it's time to actually hear from someone who's lived this experience.
Yeah, for sure.
We have with us today a five-time finisher of the legendary Paris-Brest Paris, a true veteran of randonneuring. Welcome to the deep dive.
It's an honor to have you here. Your experience is truly inspiring,
Mm.
and I'm sure our listeners are just like eager to hear about your journey in the world of BRM.
So let's just start at the beginning. Like, what drew you to randonneuring in the first place? Was there like a particular moment or event that kind of sparked your interest? Five-time PBP finisher.
It all started with a simple desire to challenge myself. I'd always enjoyed cycling, but I never really considered myself like a serious cyclist. And then one day I stumbled upon this article about a local 200K BRM event and something about the distance, the self-sufficiency aspect and the idea of like really pushing my limits. It just kind of clicked with me. So I signed up, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. And that first 200K, how was that experience for you? I imagine it was quite a leap from your like usual cycling routine.
Five-time PBP finisher.
Yeah, it definitely was a baptism by fire. I remember feeling overwhelmed at times, especially during those long stretches through the night. But, there was also this incredible sense of accomplishment, like with each checkpoint I reached, like each kilometer I ticked off. And the camaraderie among the other riders was just amazing.
They were so supportive. They were like offering encouragement and sharing tips along the way. It was really special.
You mentioned those long stretches through the night. What's it like, mentally and physically to be out there on the road in the darkness, pushing your limits like that?
Five-time PBP finisher. It's a very unique experience, that's for sure. Your senses are heightened. The world just feels different in the dark. You're relying on your bike lights to illuminate the path ahead, and there's this sense of solitude and introspection that's kind of hard to describe. It's almost meditative. A chance to really connect with yourself and the rhythm of the ride.
So from that first 200K, you eventually made your way to the Paris-Brest Paris, and not just once, but five times. I mean, what keeps you coming back to this monumental event, five-time PBP finisher? It's hard to put into words the allure of PBP. I think it's the history, the challenge, the camaraderie. On a global scale, you have riders from all over the world united by this shared passion for endurance cycling. The atmosphere is electric, especially at the start and finish lines, and the route itself is stunning. It takes you through the French countryside, past these historic landmarks and charming villages. It's an experience that stays with you long after you cross the finish line.
Five times is an incredible feat. Yeah. What advice would you give to someone considering their first PDP? What are like the key things to focus on during those years of preparation?
Five-time PDP finisher. Well, first and foremost, listen to your body. Don't push yourself too hard too soon. Build up your mileage gradually and make sure you're comfortable spending long hours in the saddle. Nutrition is also crucial, especially during those long rides. So experiment with different foods and find what works best for you. And don't neglect the mental aspect. Visualize yourself completing the ride, break it down into smaller, more manageable goals. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. The years leading up to PBP are just as important as the event itself.
That's fantastic advice. And, for listeners who might be feeling, inspired, but also a little hesitant to take that first step, what would you say to them?
Five-time PBP finisher. I'd say don't be afraid to start small. Sign up for a local 200K. Experience the joy of randonneuring firsthand. You might be surprised at what you're capable of. Randonneuring is more than just a physical challenge. It's a journey of self-discovery, It's a chance to connect with an amazing community in a way to experience the world from a different perspective.
That's a beautiful sentiment. It's about pushing your boundaries, both physical and mental, and coming out stronger on the other side. Well, a huge thank you to our five-time PBP finisher for sharing your incredible insights and inspiring us all with your story.
Yeah, it's been a privilege to hear about your experiences. Your passion for randonneuring is truly infectious. And I have a feeling we've got a few listeners out there who are already searching for BRM events in their area.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of BRM cycling, we leave you with this. What's your next adventure going to be? Whether it's a local 200K or the epic Paris-Brest Paris, remember that the journey starts with a single pedal stroke. And who knows, maybe you'll discover that the greatest journey of all is the one that takes you within. Until next time, keep exploring, keep pushing your boundaries, and keep the spirit of randonneuring alive.